Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hey, this is Dave Shop. Welcome back. I'm Dave, and it is Friday, and we have made it 6:01 this morning. So we're just going to give everybody a second to grab their cup of coffee and get settled in this morning. That would be me too. Whew. This has been a very busy week. And we here in Central Texas actually have a bit of a cold front coming in, if you want to call it that. I think the low tonight's going to be about 40. The low tomorrow night's going to be about 37. The high today, though, is supposed to be 72, and so it could turn out to be a pretty day today. It's supposed to be pretty windy, though. Tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, the high is only going to be in the 50s. So, Paint and Body Man, how you doing this morning? Carrie, how you doing? Good morning. We made it to Friday. Hey, Carl, how's it going? Oh, it's Friday, and we're going to do a little trivia today. I'm just giving everybody a second to kind of grab their last cup of coffee before we sit down and get started. Mary Ann just joined. Hey, Mary Ann, how's it going? So if you are new here, make sure you let me know where you're from. Dodie, hey, how's it going this morning? Good morning, everybody. We made it to Friday. Woohoo! Everybody looking for, really, this was the first week since we returned from all the holiday time. Pool man, 1958. I used to be in the pool business. I had my own pool cleaning and repair business for probably like 17 years. And it was my side gig. A lot of work there. Sapphire Suitcase, good morning. Thank you for joining. Just to remind everybody, like, share, follow, so that I can do the same at the end of the live. There we go. Frog screen. Frog screen, good morning. John Brown, good morning. User 8217, good morning. John, all the way from Australia, join. Good morning. Porter, join. Good morning. Rebecca, good morning. Pharrell 057, join. Good morning. How's the weather in Australia this morning, John? Mike F245. Mike, were you a fighter pilot? The reason I asked that's because your handle. Leah Cook just joined. Good morning, Leah. Hello, everybody. Wake up, wake up. Stretch. If you're driving, don't do that because that'd mean you were hands free. Yeah. Oh. You can't hear anything? How about now? It works a lot better when I turn the mic on, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness. I'm just talking away like a madman. Hey, Mike, 245, how's it going? Oh. Hey, Mike, I think I hate it when that happens. I usually turn it on, but I guess because it's Friday, I missed turning that on this morning. Oh, that's funny. So like I said, everybody, if you're new here, make sure you like, share, and follow so I can do the same at the end of the live. Welcome to Dave's Shop. I'm Dave, And Friday morning, we've made it through the week. We're going to do a little some trivia questions today. It's always fun to do that on Friday. So I hope you got your maybe your first cup of coffee, but for me it's my second cup. So hopefully you've got one of these or a Red Bull or whatever you drink first thing in the morning. Speaking of what you drink in the morning, put something in the comments. Let me know, what do you drink in the morning? Do you drink coffee or you drink energy drink, soft drink? Starbucks. I'm trying to think of all the, I mean, depending on where you're from. Ed's with us this morning. Good morning, Ed. I know what Ed drinks. He drinks coffee. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Double espresso. Now that's that'll get you going first thing in the morning, John. Yeah, that double espresso. That'll get your attention. That's one of those that walks right up to you and gives you a big old slap in the face. Good morning, Randall. How you doing over here on YouTube? Randall has coffee. I hadn't seen anybody. You know, a lot of times. So let me ask you this. Let me clarify this. When you say coffee, do you drink like a cold coffee, or do you drink hot coffee? I drink hot brewed coffee, even in the summertime. Mike F45 drinks Folgers. I'm sorry. Oh, a lot of people drink Folgers coffee. Man, I can smell Folgers coffee a mile away. I was in the coffee business for a few years, and that was one coffee that it has its own unique kind of smell. Kayla, Southeast what? Oh, she did a drive-by. And Sean Conroy. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Sean and I work together. Yeah, thank you for joining, Sean. I appreciate you. What's up? Well, it's Sean, as you well know, it's the end of the first week. Matter of fact, I just got in the mail yesterday from UPS a box to return all my company equipment, which is just my laptop. So I'm going to be doing that today. Yeah, you too? Okay. Well, that's good. Mowing God just joined over here on TikTok. Hey, Sean, have you found anything else yet, or are you still looking? Anybody over here on YouTube that is joined here and in the live, make sure you go check out Sean Conroy. He's probably in the ballpark looking for some employment. Great IT guy. So if you know anybody that's out there hiring, dang sure give him a heads up on it. Mike, repair shop. Okay. Mike, what kind of repair do you do? Just so everybody knows, before I had the mic on, before I was smart enough to turn it on this morning, I asked Mike about his handle F245, and I thought was he a pilot, and of course he didn't hear me because I had the mic turned off. But still looking. CompTIA search, that's good. You know, I've done some of those CompTIA certs, and some places really think that they're a big deal, and other people don't. But it's always good to have that on your resume, because at least they know you understand the basics. Oh yeah. Anyway, so Here in Texas, it is going to be a high of 72 today. I think it was in the 50s out there this morning. Supposedly have some type of little cold front blowing in. The high tomorrow is going to be in the 50s. And it was just, upper 80s. Can you believe that in Texas in January, upper 80s? It's been a hot summer. Excuse me. We haven't really had much of a winter yet this year. So anyway, yeah. Okay, I think everybody's joining here. Hey, Mike. Mike Moss gonna floss. I like that. All right, how much? Thanks, Mike, for the signs back there on the wall. Here, let me turn it a little bit. Yeah, I have a whole wall of those. I'll show it to you. If you stay on at the end of the live, I'll show the whole wall space so that you can see all of it. Anyway, one of my favorite things to do is to play trivia. Seems like people enjoy that. It gets me through till lunchtime. John from Australia's, when I was asking what everybody drank this morning, do you drink hot coffee, cold coffee, Red Bull? I can't think of all Monsters. I think that's a energy drink. So you never know. Taylor, Chris joined. Hey, Chris, how's it going? So I'm going to ask the first trivia question. It's kind of a hard one, I think. We'll see how much. I don't know how many of you. So let's do this before we start. Some of you that have joined, I know where you're from. Others I have not. So down in the comments, everybody put what state you're from. So I can see, how many people are from Texas, how many people are from other places. Super easy. Water, homegrown lemon. Xavier just joined. What's up, Xavier? Hey, man, how's it going? Kim, I know where you're from. Kim's down up the road in Texas. All right. Try script, Arkansas. There you go. Sean Conroy's from Mass. I knew where he was from. Chris is Idaho, Oregon. Good. So now this is a Texas history question, this first one. That's one of the reasons I was kind of asking, but we'll see. We'll see how many people might know this one. And this one's kind of hard, though. So here's the first trivia question of the day. What was the name of the last president of the Republic of Texas? What was the name of the last president of the Republic of Texas? Anybody know that? Ding dong, ding dong. Yeah. Legendary Pac-Man, what's up? I know where you got that name from. You're telling how old you are if you're using Pac-Man. That was back in my time. Fluff. Oh, that's tough. Bill Hicks. Mike, that's a good guess, but that's not who it is. It was Anson Jones. Anson Jones. And I have no idea who that is. Okay. Let me go back up here and ask an easier question. Pac-Man. Mowing God just joined. Hey, Mowing God, how's it going? Okay, so here's the next trivia question. And I do keep up with this. Not that you're going to win a dang thing today, but it's always fun to see who answers the most questions. Ed's usually pretty good competitor. Kim too on YouTube. She's pretty sharp cookie herself. So there we go. So here we go. I'm going to give you an easy one. Everybody should get this. What Texas city hosts the annual State Fair of Texas? What Texas city hosts the annual State Fair of Texas? It knows a little about a lot. As my daddy would always say, you're the jack of all trades and master of none. Jamie says, dang it, you're right, Jamie. Jamie, are you from Texas or did you just know that answer? Kim said Dallas. Yep, Kim got it right. Oh, Sean from Mass, he got it right too. Sean, Kim, Jamie. Jamie's from Shreveport. All right. We're there in Louisiana. I like that. See, that was easy. All y'all got a point. There we go. Okay, so let me see. So that was a text. I don't want to ask all Texas questions. Okay, so here's a history question. Here's a history question. You ready? What amendment gave women the right to vote in the U.S.? What amendment? I can't even talk this morning. What amendment gave women the right to vote in the U.S.? Does anybody know that? That's a history question. A while back, Ed's usually pretty good at these questions too. Alfred. 3, 4. Chris Green just joined. Hey, Chris. Rod, what up? Rod, come on, man. Joseph, how's it going? 10:17 p.m. Friday here. Joseph, where are you from? Over here on YouTube. If it's 10:17 on Friday night, there are you over in Australia too, or what part of the world are you at? Yes, Ed is absolutely correct. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. Can you imagine that at some point that we didn't allow women to vote in our government? We've come a long way. Dakota Rose, how's it going? Okay, so here's the next question. This is also a history question. What was the name of the ship Charles Darwin sailed on? What was the name of the ship Charles Darwin sailed on? You didn't know y'all were going back to school and learning history on Friday morning, did you? Dirty Dirt Garage. You got that last one correct, Dirty Dirt Garage. It was the downfall of all. Art 4T. Uh-oh. It must be on his second cup. Okay, ding. So it was the one more. Let's see, what does it say? Mako, good morning. Do you want to see what people say? No clue on the ship. It was the HMS Beagle, and Ed was correct. The Beagle. I would have never known that one. I'm gonna have to pick some like, are you smarter than a 5th grade question? Let me see. Do y'all remember that game? Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Who was it that did? trying to think who hosted that. Jeff Foxworthy. That's right. That guy's pretty funny. Okay, so I'm gonna back down. I'm gonna ask some easier questions. So here's the first one. This is, are you smarter than a fifth grader? How many sides does a hexagon have? How many sides does a hexagon have? And this is, we need to see if you're smarter than a fifth grader. Go ahead, y'all can answer it. I'm giving everybody, there you go. Sean, I knew you were going to be smarter than a fifth grader. And Kim. And Ed. Well, you know, the other day, just so y'all know, we played Name That Tune, and YouTube, and Ed even asked, I believe, on the live, he's like, "Hey man, you think you're going to get a strike for that?" And I was like, I'm not playing the whole song. Boy, I tell you what, it wasn't 24 hours till I had this little message in my email saying, wow, you can't do that. Which I don't really understand that, because to me it gives the song, the artist, just exposure. But I guess they're afraid. I mean, you just don't make much money doing live, so I guess they could share in the whole 12 cents or something that live made. But they didn't take the live down. They were nice about it. They just demonetized it, so it couldn't make that 12 cents. But yeah, so darn it. And I don't sing well, so and nor do I know that many songs, so we can't do that anymore. I'm gonna have to try to find something else. And somebody said we should try Name That Sound, but I'm not sure how that would work out. I'm gonna have to play with that. Ed, so see, Ed, that's why Ed knew about it, because his first YouTube, so last year he did that take a walk, take a picture for 365 days. And I can say he completed it, and what a great job that was. But one of his first walks got flagged for that too. What does it say? They'll get you a few music in the background. Really? Even if you have just the radio playing, I guess, and it catches the background, they'll get you for that too. Huh. That's crazy. So Mako wants Mako on YouTube wants to play Name That Tool. Let me see if I have something here that might stump you. Oh man. All right. What is that? Okay. Can everybody, I'm going to show everybody the tool, okay? See it? See the tool? You want to see it up close? Does anybody know what this is? We're doing this for Mako on YouTube. You want to know, Name That Tool. Pop, just join. Hey, what's up? My first one, yeah. Every video I made, I had to take down because, oh, really? Led Zeppelin playing in the background. Man, that ain't fun. Wisconsin's close. It is a ratchet style tool. And so what this tool is for is you can, they make some square bits that fit in here. And like this end's a 5/16. The other is a quarter. And they change, it depends on which side you use. So you get 4 different bit sizes, and you can use it like a ratchet. So yeah, Wisconsin is correct. It is a ratchet style tool. Okay, so that was an easy one. Let me see. So I'm gonna have to hide what this is, but so this is the next tool. Everybody see it? So see that? So that's the next tool. Somebody tell me, what is this tool used for? Besides taking up space in my toolbox. And this tool has a specific use for. It's used for something specific. Bent neck. So it sounds like a lot of us have had our hands spanked about music. It's, it's really frustrating too, because there's such a wide variety of old music, country music, pop music. And then I don't know about YouTube, because most of my YouTube stuff doesn't have any music on it. John says a ratcheting socket spanner like threaded rod under a sink tap. No, that's a good guess though, but that's not it. And you would know that we have a garage person on YouTube that answered it correctly. This is, it's a little, yes, it is a ratchet style tool, but it's specifically designed for removing battery post on a car. You just put it on there, it works like a little ratchet. That's what it is. It's a side battery terminal. It's for it. It doesn't work on all of them, but a lot of them. They're pretty handy if you're ever changing your own battery, and you've got some big old adjustable wrench. A lot of people they'll use a. Now this is a smaller one. They'll use a wrench like this that they can adjust down, just a crescent wrench. That's what I call them. Everybody calls them something different, but those work a lot better. And they make different size ones, but that one's kind of standard. And then I'm going to so I'm going to hold this one here. This is a really easy one. You got like 5 seconds to tell me what you use this for. You ready? 1, 2, 3. What was it and what's it used for? Shifter in Australia. Oh, John, that's too friggin' funny. A shifter in Australia. Oh, that's funny. Oh, Monica. Hey, Monica, how you doing? Thank you for coming back to see us. Mako's on this morning. Wisconsin's joined me. Now, Wisconsin's on it. That was an easy one. Did anybody on YouTube see that? That was too funny. That's right. It's a Stanley 16-foot tape measure. I don't know. So I have to ask everybody, because I have a vast variety of tools, and partially because I'm a little bit of a tool nut. Inevitably I have people ask me, why do you have that tool? Well, probably because at some point I needed it to do a job and didn't have it. And that's why when you see, and the other part of it is I'm kind of a tool nut. I love tools. I don't know why, but I do reviews on a lot of them, and they're just really there's some really smart people out there that design these tools, and for what they do. And a tape measure, I probably have. I bet I have 10 tape measures around the house, because inevitably, when you're looking for a tape measure, you ever notice it's like you can't find it. You don't know where they are. You know, you got 10 of them, but you can't find a tape measure. At work, I always kept, this was the one of mine that I kept at my desk. And people would ask me all the time, why do you keep a tape measure on your desk when you do IT work? Do you know how many times somebody would walk in and say, hey, you got a tape measure? And I'd be like, yeah. I said, why? Oh, I need to measure this to see if it fits on my desk, or the size of a box, or, I mean, it was always something. So for a long time, I always kept a tape measure either on my desk or in a drawer where I could easily access it. You're a gearhead, brother. Flood. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I didn't know for a really long time that when I was younger, all of my family on both sides, my mother's side and my father's side, they were all deaf. And you know, when you're a little kid and your grandparents and great-grandparents and they're all deaf, and your aunts and uncles don't speak either, you do learn some sign language. However, both of my parents could hear, and well, my dad was an only child. My mother had a sister, but she could hear too. But everyone else in the family were deaf, and so yeah, gearhead, Mako nose, tape measure. Yeah, exactly. But my dad was anyway. He could hear, and so he was pretty handy. He could do carpenter work, all kinds of stuff. But where I was going with it is, for a long time, until I was probably a grown man, I never knew what my grandfather did for a living. Partially because he died when I was like 5 or 6 from a blood clot. He had a stroke, and then he had a blood clot in his leg, and of course it went to his heart, and he passed away. But you know, when you have grandparents that speak, you know, the normal thing is grandparents tell their grandchildren stories about when they were children. They tell them stories about their parents when they were kids. And when you're young and your grandparents are deaf and you don't know American Sign Language, you know, you don't hear, or you're not ever told those kind of stories growing up. And my wife is from a very large family. She has 4 sisters and brothers. And so, her grandparents were still alive when we got married. So I heard all kinds of stories about their family and the kids growing up and stuff. And so that would be the one thing I can tell you that I missed out on, having grandparents and great grandparents on both sides of the family, and cousins and aunts and uncles, and they were all deaf, and being a young kid. However, what I did find out, I had to ask my dad what my grandfather did for a living. Well, what he did is he was a sharecropper. So he farmed. And when he wasn't farming, he was a carpenter, and apparently a pretty good carpenter. And I didn't even know for years. I mean, my dad was in law enforcement for 40 plus years. And so, and always worked 2 jobs trying to support all of us. And so I didn't see him do a lot of woodworking or that type of stuff. Even though we worked on cars probably more than anything because we had old cars. But um, when he retired from the federal government, they had not long before his retirement, 2 or 3 years, bought a new home, and he built a entire up. It was like in a game room upstairs. It was a 2-story house, um, and at the top of the stairs was a big game room. And he built a whole set of cabinets. And I asked him. I said, "Dad, where did you learn to build cabinets?" I was just stunned by it. And that's when I found out that my grandfather was a carpenter. So I like doing carpenter type work. As a young teenager, I worked for a cabinet maker. When people built houses, you would have actually a custom cabinet maker would come in and do your cabinets and like trim and install interior doors and that type of stuff. And so I worked a couple of summers for a carpenter. Of course, all I ever learned to do there was I did learn how to use a chop saw and or what we call a miter saw, and I learned how to install baseboards because being young and being on your knees, I get that. While he was making cabinets, but um, I'm thinking that I would like to find some place where I could learn more about being a cabinet maker or furniture maker. Stuff like that interests me. So I might do that in my retirement. You never know. But I am a tool freak too. I like all kinds of tools, and YouTube makes it worse too because when you've got when you're doing tools, everybody's showing something different, and they if you want to know how to do something or how to build something, man, there's some guys out there on YouTube that are just they make it look really easy, and some of the stuff is. And some of the stuff is not too difficult. Matter of fact, I have a miter saw. It's not a great one. Takes up a lot of space in the shop, and I want to build a more portable, smaller station for that miter saw. So I found a guy on YouTube, and I've been watching him on and off, and he just out of the clear blue built a small miter saw stand. And it has wings that fold up that'll give you about 8 foot of space when you're cutting long material. And when you don't need it, then they fold down, and they actually only take the footprint, I think, is about 28 or 29 inches wide by 24 inches deep. So, and it's got casters on it, of course, and so it doesn't take up much room in a small shop. So I'm going to build that and take it off. I've got a big Ryobi fold out miter saw stand, and it's been great, and I have nothing to complain about. Just that anytime I have to do any kind of much building, or if I'm going to use that saw a lot, and I do use it a lot, it's one of the tools when you're doing when you're building stuff that you do use a lot. And so, but sawdust, oh my God, it puts off so much sawdust. Now after learning the hard way, take your miter saw outside the shop to use it. Otherwise, you'll have sawdust everywhere. And you have to wear a mask in a small shop too, because even when you can't see the sawdust, it's in the air and it can get in your lungs. And, you don't want that all the time. Gail Ann just joined on YouTube. Thank you. RC4T. Thank God, my life. Oh God. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little bit of a tool freak. I've got, let's see, I'm just thinking about all the toolboxes I have. 1, 2, 3. I probably have four toolboxes full of tools. On top of, I have tools for days. So my daughter asked me, she goes, Dad, you know, when you're gone, what am I supposed to do with all these tools? And I said, well, you could sell them. Not that you'd probably get any money for them because people don't pay anything for used tools. I said, but maybe give them, you know, find a high school or somebody that has a shop that needs tools, auto tools and woodworking, and maybe donate them there. So, and I said, keep a few for yourself. But I plan on being around for a while. You know, one of the next projects I'm going to do, matter of fact, I ordered the stuff yesterday is, and I think I mentioned it earlier in the week about insulating your garage door. And in Texas, geez, it gets, you know, those doors, I checked the temp this past summer on that door, and my garage door gets the morning sun. And it probably starts being shaded about, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the temp on that metal garage door gets, you know, 140 degrees, sometimes hotter, but about 140 degrees. And so, you know, that radiates into your garage. So you want to definitely do something about insulating them. And when it's cold, if you have them insulated, it kind of helps keep the warmth in too. And so recently I had my garage door worked on because the springs broke, and had to buy a set of springs and have it readjusted. Spent nearly $1,000 on it. And I asked the guy, you know, hey, how much to put in a insulated garage door? And it was between $3,500 and $5,000 to replace the garage doors with a insulated one. And I was like, nope, I'm cheap. I'm not doing that. So I found a company out of what town was that in? Someplace here in the U.S., and they make a radiant barrier kit that you put on the door that will reduce the inside temperature up to 20 degrees. It's lightweight. You don't have to have your garage door springs readjusted. A lot of people use rigid foam and inset it in the panels, but that does add weight to the garage door. And so if you ever do that, and that works really well too for insulation, but if you ever do that, then you need to have your springs adjusted for that additional weight. Yeah. Yeah, Art, I do have a dust collection system connected to that saw. I sure do. And every time you turn the saw on, it automatically turns that dust collection system on. So yeah, definitely you do need a dust collection, but you know, every tool doesn't do well. Some dust extraction works good, some doesn't. For that, I have out of 10 lids are broken. Jimmy Moore, how about that? Hey Jimmy, how's it going? I'm a tool freak too. I buy cool looking tools and retire and don't know why. Well, yeah, like I said, here's a perfect example. And I think I did a video on this too. I was in somebody else's shop, and I'm trying to think, what was the name of that tool company? The guy had a roll around tool cart, and I mean, it looked like it had been run through the ringer, rusty. Dang it, I had to find that video and share it with you. I do have it posted. I think I have it posted. I don't know if I have it posted on TikTok, but I do have it posted on YouTube. I might have to post it on TikTok. But anyway, so I took it was a toolbox, and it's, damn it. What is the name of that brand? You know, they were a brand like Snap-on, but it's not Snap-on. Anyway, I have it. It was all rusted, and he was pushing it out of his shop, and he said, "Hey, you want this piece of crap?" And I'm like, "Well, what's wrong with it?" He said, "Well, just look at it. It's old and rusted, and I just don't have a spot for it." So I moved it around. I was like, "Huh? Well, the casters still work really well." I said, "I can tell they're pretty heavy duty." I said, "You sure you want to get rid of this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want it." And I was like, "Well, okay." I said, "I'll take it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I took it, and I brought it home." And of course, my wife's like, "What in the world? Where'd you get that piece of crap?" And I said, "Well, Bob was throwing it away, so I thought I'd pick it up." She goes, "What are you going to do for it?" And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "I think maybe it's a project." And so it sat in my garage for a few months because I didn't have a clue what I was going to use. And stuff started to collect and set on it. And then one weekend, I was like, I think I'm going to refurb that toolbox. She goes, "Oh, I don't think you're going to be able to do that." I said, "Well, you don't know me very well." And so I started working on it, and I worked on it for, 2 or 3 weeks on and off, completely got all the rust off of it, cleaned it all up and repainted it. And when it was all said and done, it looked like a new toolbox. And the guy said, "Hey man, can I get that toolbox back? That belonged to my dad." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I mean, I could give it back to you." And I didn't give it back. He was just kidding with me. It did belong to his dad. His dad was a mechanic. And I would have given it back to him for sure. But yeah. So that's how I get stuff inherited sometimes. I'll have to show it to you. Right now it has a router table sitting on it, and that's what I'm using it for. But it's a pretty cool. It's one of those toolboxes that you can use the top as a kind of a workbench tool area, and then the top opens up, and down in it you could actually have a bunch of tools. And then of course it's got a bottom shelf to it too, and I think only one drawer. But yeah, I'll have to remember the name of the company who built that. What is this? Mako Old Gunny. Yeah, her brother, my man. Jimmy Moore, thank you. Appreciate the follow. So like I tell everybody, if you're new here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up on YouTube. Same thing on TikTok, like, share, follow. And I'll do the same. If you're a creator on YouTube, I will go check out your content. Matter of fact, one of the guys that joined the other day, he refurbs old cars, and man, he has a great content website on YouTube. And I don't remember the name. I think it was Aero Auto or something they were on the other day. But yeah, Mako says rotaries. Yeah. That's funny that Mako, you said that, because we were talking about trucks the other day, and two of the most favorite trucks I ever drove, small trucks, were the Mazda line. Well, they were Mazda pickups, and they had those rotary engines. And probably that was the very first brand spanking new, right off the dealership parking lot, that I was ever able to afford. And it was a stripped down, base model Mazda pickup with this manual shift. And I think I paid $4,000 cash money for it, brand new. And I loved it. It was blue, and it was blue. Anyway, it's just a great truck. And I'd had that truck about 4 months, and got caught in a softball size hailstorm here in Austin. And I mean, it ripped the mirrors off of it, shattered the windshield, and there wasn't a spot you could put your finger on that truck that didn't have a dent in it. But other than that, it ran fine. So, replaced the windshield, replaced the two side mirrors. The insurance company paid, they totaled it, and I bought it back from the insurance company for like $200 or $300. Bought the salvage rights to it, and I drove that truck 150,000 miles. It was ugly, but man, it was dependable. So yeah, and it had a rotary engine in it. And I never had any issues out of it. So I wish Mazda, that's the one vehicle I wish Mazda would start making again. And maybe they sell them overseas in another country, but I would like for them to sell, just go back to a basic small pickup and sell it in the United States. I was hoping Ford might do that when they came out with their little truck, but they do like all manufacturers do, seems like. Look, people need basic transportation. Really, there are a lot of people that's all they can afford is basic transportation. They need something that will start and it's dependable, has air conditioning and heat and a radio. And that's it. They don't have to have carpet in them. They don't have, you could manually roll your windows up and down. I know that's a unique concept for some people, but just think about that. And I've said, if any manufacturer comes back out with those little pickups and they're reasonable, and what I call reasonable, I'd say, they need to build a truck, a small truck that you could probably buy based on, inflation and all that. But you should be able to buy one of those small trucks for around $10,000, new, off the showroom floor. Now, it's not going to have all the bells and whistles and this and that and the other. And probably the only safety feature that I would probably say that should be in all of them is airbags, for the driver and passenger. And that's it. But keep everything else basic and affordable. And can you imagine how many people, or better yet, how many companies would buy those small trucks and use them for their guys getting around town? Saw a few in Thailand, but none in Florida. Yeah. I just think if a manufacturer would get past the greedy part and be smart and build something like that they would be surprised with just a little 4-cylinder straight. They could put a straight 4-cylinder engine in it. One of the things that Jimmy Moore, 6-cylinder. One of the things that Chevy did years ago, back in the 50s and 60s, is they had a 235 6-cylinder, 2-barrel carburetor. Now, this is when we had carburetors, but I want to tell you that engine was so simple, just about anybody could work on them. They lasted forever. You couldn't hardly wear them out. And, maybe the manufacturer didn't like that because then they didn't sell as many trucks. But I long for that kind of a vehicle. And, most of those vehicles, like the inside, all the plastic and stuff you see in cars now, it was all metal. If it got dirty or rusted or started looking shabby, you could wet sand it and take a spray can or rattle can of paint. I painted many old truck interior with nothing more than a can of paint like that. So yeah, simpler times, but I don't see that happening. So, stuff going forwards, it's nice, but it also costs lots of money. Okay, so let's get back to me shutting up for a minute and asking, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Are you ready? Here we go. What gas do plants absorb from the air? What gas do plants absorb from the air? MK4. Mako lived in Japan for 7 years. Wow. O2. Yeah. I knew it. Anybody over here on YouTube know that answer? Come on. Put your fifth grader thinking caps on. What gas do plants absorb from the air? Art, you're close, but yeah, no. It's carbon, but it's carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. What's this PS? Gale O2, CO2. Yeah, wrong. Well, I don't know. Is that the right sign for carbon dioxide? It might be. Yeah, it starts with a C. I like that. Okay, here's the next. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? I like that. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Some of us aren't. How many continents are there on Earth? How many continents are there on Earth? And I know Ed knows this. Yep. I'm definite. Yeah. Yep. Okay, that is absolutely correct. We have had at least Kill Ed 212. Oh, I wish I need to find when we do these. I need to find a sound machine. So you know, if you if you give the wrong answer, you get buzzed or something. Yeah, there's 7. The answer was 7. Okay, so now this is going to take you back to when you were in 5th grade and doing English. Okay. So here's the question. What part of speech describes a noun? What part of speech describes a noun? Yeah, buzz will be fun. Yeah, Gillian, I want to have to find something like that. I've got to Google that and see if they actually have something. Maybe I can find something on Amazon or something that would, you know, make different sounds. I think that would be pretty funny. Mowing God's like, really, there's only one. It's called Texas. Oh, I love you, Mowing God. You're so funny. Oh, come on. Ed knows he just doesn't, he doesn't want to get air horn. Yeah, air horn would be all right. Might wake up people in the house. That's if I did that. They'd be like, what are you doing out there? No, it's an adjective. Yeah. What part of speech describes a noun? Adjective. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a math question. Do we have any mathematicians on the line? Brian just joined. Hey, Brian, I need a 3rd cup, I guess. Oh, that's too funny. I love Fridays. Oh, I mean, I like every day. Bible study was really good last night with Ed. So if y'all are ever looking for a group to do Bible study with, Ed goes live every Thursday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. And I believe he's streaming it on YouTube and TikTok, just like I do with my lives. And everybody's welcome to join. But it was good last night. I mean, I've never been to one that wasn't. So good time. Gives you, we have a whole hour of reflection is what I call it, and do a little Bible study. And Ed throws in, sometimes he throws in a little comedy, and he makes it really interesting. So I like it. What was the question I was going to ask? Oh, okay. Here we go. This is a science question. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? What's the largest planet in our solar system? What's the largest planet in our solar system? And while y'all are thinking about that, I do have a question for everybody that's online for this. Dang, looky here. If that little icon's right, there's at least 10 people watching the live. Oh, 9. Yeah, it must be right. But thank you, everybody on YouTube. Get those live participants going. I love it. And TikTok, you'll have people jumping in and out during a live, and that's always good too. Anyway, so here's my question. Has anybody answered the first one? Mm-hmm. Ed must have got that third cup of coffee because he jumped on that one like a duck on a June bug. Yeah. Starts with, yeah, Mako, you're right. More coffee, 33.71. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that took some, I don't want to say hard work because it really wasn't hard work. I had done a similar project for a neighbor. He and his wife hadn't been married that long, maybe a couple years, and they moved into the house next to us. And he was for their anniversary one year. He built her, or he had a portable building built for her in the back of their house, and it was for her to. It was a she shed. I never had heard of it until then, but they have those just in case. A she shed. I thought that he meant that that's where he like banned his wife when she was getting on his nerves or something, but apparently that's not what those are for. He had to explain that to me. Do ducks jump on June bugs? I didn't know that. They do. They do. I don't know. Do y'all have y'all probably don't have June bugs in where you're at, Illinois, because it gets too cold. But here in Texas, we have June bugs and lots of them sometimes. So that's why we always hope for a cold winter, because it kind of, see, Illinois doesn't have June bugs. Duck on June bugs. I just bought a new house. Okay. So anyway, thank you for the comment there. And I'm going to show the wall. Some of the people on TikTok, they get a better view of it. Since I've streamed YouTube from my phone, you just see part of it, but I'll step back and give everybody a view before we go offline. Thank you for the fan club. Appreciate that. But anyway, I got that idea because we built out the inside of a she shed, and he wanted something different. And his idea was, I don't know why he wanted to do this, but we had to insulate the building and make it look nice. And I'm not a sheetrock person. I can do some sheetrock work, but that's just something I've never mastered. I can hang the sheetrock, but I can't make it look pretty afterwards. And so we didn't use sheetrock, and he wanted to use paneling like from the late 60s and 70s. And I was like, no paneling, whatever we do, let's don't do paneling. I didn't think that would look good. So what we did was, after we put the insulation up, I put the entire, it was an A-frame building. So we did the ceiling, the walls, trimmed the windows out, all of it with cedar. And that's, if you go and buy like flat 8-foot cedar boards, if you've ever looked, that's pretty expensive. Those are actually red cedar fence pickets, and they're not super cheap, but they're a lot. It's a softer wood. It's easier to work with. And that's what that wall's done with, fence pickets. And so we did his wife's she shed in those, and it turned out really nice, and she liked it. And so I had cabinets back here. They fell off the wall one Sunday. When that happened, I decided that I would do that wall like that. So anyway, I don't even remember what question I asked now. Let me see here. Look over here. Joy and Christy. Good morning. Hey, Joe. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining us this morning. Hey, if you don't know, Joe Allen Christie, he's here in Texas, just up the road from me. Does a little music, and he's on TikTok. I don't know if he's on YouTube. He might be, but he's definitely on TikTok. He's original music and covers, and he's really good at it. So if you ever see him on TikTok, make sure you go give him a follow, check him out. He does play some local venues too, I believe. But anyway, yeah. Rough and carpenter is what I'm good at. Okay. So you're a pretty good rough-in carpenter? That's good. You know, I learned so much when I worked for a home builder as a construction. The title was construction manager. Really, all we did was manage the vendors who built the houses and paid all the bills, the POs that they submitted to the company, and just kind of managed the job. We didn't do any of the physical work, but you sure do learn a lot of stuff from the guys that are true carpenters. There's not many of them out there anymore. A lot of them, you know, at least in Texas, I don't know how it is everywhere else. A lot of them work for contractors, and that guys that are actually doing the work don't speak English at all. Some of them speak broken English. A lot of them are from Mexico and stuff. But man, they're hard workers. But that's what I did, and I learned a lot of good stuff from them. And you want a good sheetrock guy, man? That's where all the sheetrock guys came from. They were all from Mexico. Very few were here, were American born and raised. I'm sure there's some out there, but none that I ran across. And to me, that's a talent when you not hanging the sheetrock, because you know that's pretty basic, but when you can tape, float, texture, and make a sheetrock look where you can't see the seams, you can't see anything that they've done, and especially the ones that could do repair work, like, you know, some kid got mad at his brother and put a hole in the wall, and they could go in and patch that, and you would never know where on the wall they patched the hole. Those guys are like artists. Easy to find. I'm in Ocala. Okay. That's great. I like those. Are you smarter than the fifth grader questions? Those were pretty funny. Always been on the farming side of carpentry. Yeah. You know, when you farm, there's always some carpenter work. You know, there's carpenters who build cabinets. There's carpenters who do framing and frame houses. All of them use similar tools, but there's different qualities in the kind of work that they do. You know, you get somebody that doesn't know how to frame a house. Well, that's the bones. So that's pretty important. But at the same time, you need somebody that's pretty talented that can install all the interior doors, the cabinets, the baseboards. You know, you go baseboards. Why would you put baseboards in there? Well, baseboards are important. There's a reason that they do that. A lot of people don't realize one of the reasons baseboards are put down is to cover the bottom edge of the sheetrock so that it doesn't come apart and it's not exposed. But framing, yeah. I mean, and you know, if you're farming, you know, you need to know how to build you might need to know how to build your own barn, a shed, a lean-to for your cattle, if you have any cattle. I mean, there's just tons of stuff that's being able to do carpenter. I think if I knew what I knew now, what I know now, and I was 18 again, I would want to learn how to be an electrician. I'd like to learn carpentry and plumbing. And I did work in the plumbing industry for, you know, a few years, not long, a couple years or so, and I knew a lot of plumbers. So I'm fairly handy. I can do a lot of that around the house plumbing. I can change the toilet and rebuild the tank in a toilet, and you know, I can work on sprinkler systems, that type of stuff. But yeah, I would like to have gotten a little more experience there. I never thought I was going to work in IT. That's not what I did. When I came out of high school, I really thought I was going to work in law enforcement, and did go in that direction, and was in there about a year, I guess. Worked for the Texas Department of Corrections as a prison guard while I was going to college. And I got attacked by two inmates I guess I'd been there about a year. And yeah, and was out of commission for about 6 or 7 months. I had both sides of my jaw broke and wired shut. So it took a little while to recoup from that. And that scared my wife so bad. She said that if I was going to continue down that path, that we probably weren't going to stay married. So at that time, I made a decision that maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe I wasn't going to stay. I stayed married. We're still married 47, 48 years later. So there you go. Yeah. Long time ago. Let's see. What else did I have? Oh, that's the question I was going to ask. So I'll put this out here for everybody. Yesterday, you know, if you've watched any of my videos on YouTube or TikTok, I do a question of the day. And so I'm going to put it out there because yesterday I just drew a blank. I could not, I mean, there's all kinds of questions, but you know, you're trying to come up with a question that's engaging and that people will respond to. And you know, I did post, what would you do, which is a form of a question, but it's a little different. Oh, where was that? So if anybody's feeling like they would like to share, or they would like to submit a question of the day, put it in the comments and let's see. And you can do it anytime you think of it. If you're on the live, if you've got a question of the day idea, drop it in the comments. And if I use your question, I'll make sure that I give you credit for it on the live, which I don't care where the questions come from. They just, you know, my dad worked in the boys' school. Yeah. Yeah. You know, my best friend I went to high school with, so I did not complete college, for whatever reasons, you know, money. I was newly married. I got my jaw broke. And the way I was going to, my parents didn't have any money. So the way I was paying for college was through a program through the state where I had to work for the state in the prison system, go to school, and then after I and I was going for a degree in criminology, Once I got that degree, then I would have had to work for the state 4 more years. I would have had to commit to staying with them. And anyway, all of that fell apart, and that's not what happened. Here's the story. A lot of people don't know who Carrasco is, but Carrasco and his group of people, probably the last hostage taking event that happened in Texas prisons. Where it all went down was a unit in downtown Huntsville, Texas. And it's called the Walls Unit. It's a hospital unit. And he took some librarians hostage. And I think there was like a six-day siege where he held hostages. He ended up, asking for a helicopter for him and the people working with him to land inside the walls of the prison, and fly him into Mexico. Well, he didn't make it. Texas Rangers killed him in the process. But where I was attacked was on the second floor of that same building a few years later. And the library where he took the librarians were right above me. So the bottom floor was like a, kitchen, cooking area. The second floor is where they fed all the prisoners. And then the third floor was the library. And I was standing outside the doors going into the cafeteria. And if you've ever worked as a prison guard, you know that cell blocks, that's how they're separated. There are cell blocks, and there's so many prisoners per cell block. And cell blocks in the prison system, they don't go anywhere separately without some form of a pass. And in the Walls unit, it was very common that people would have a pass to go see the doctor or, a counselor, or all kinds of reasons. But if your cell block happened to go wherever they were going, and in this case, it was time to eat lunch or something. So it was lunchtime when it happened, and they go in groups. And if you weren't with your group, you had to have a pass because they wanted to know, why weren't you with your group? And had two guys come up a ramp and, just caught me so much off guard, because understand that I was 18 years old when that happened. And I didn't do anything but, say, hey, can I see? And I couldn't get, that was the last thing I remember. The story that I was told by other guards were they knocked me through two metal double doors, and then some other guards had to get them off of me. But yeah, so that's what happened. So I never finished college. Life happened. And so when people ask me, where'd you go to college? School of Hard Knocks. Where's that at? Anyway, there's a story that goes with that too. Yeah, fun. I get sidetracked sometimes. I was a licensed plumber out of school, but never followed that road. Well, Brian, that's funny that you were a licensed plumber coming out of school, but I bet you still know how to do plumbing. So you learned a trade, whether you actually used it to make a living or not. You too, bud. As a veteran, thank you for your service, brother. Yeah, for sure. Anybody that's been in the military needs to be thanked for their service. College is overrated. Yeah, I've met a lot of people that have college degrees, but they have no common sense. And they couldn't fix a clock, much less some other stuff. But then I've met some people with college educations that are really smart. But I think they would be really smart whether they went to college or not. Everything about it. Yeah. So I definitely think, it's never too late to learn something new. And I think you should never stop learning in your lifetime. I mean, at 50, I thought my work career was over then. I'd lost a business, and the economy sucked. I think I got laid off from 5 different jobs in 4 or 5 years. I was beginning to wonder if there was something wrong with me, and then I got into IT and spent nearly 20 years working in the IT. So yeah, college is overrated. Where did you go to college? The Middle East. No, I didn't go to college in the Middle East. That's pretty funny, though. So, again, back to the question. Anybody that would like to, okay, Panhandler, hey, how's it going? Anybody that would like to submit a question of the day, please do so. You can send it to my email address. It's daveshop2 at gmail.com. You can send it to me on the apps in the comments section. So Brian says he never went to college at all. Well, mine was very short-lived. My oldest granddaughter is, so, you know, I learned a lot of lessons even now to this day. And one of them that I learned that I think it's being perpetrated on our young students in high school is they try to lay out going to college being such a great thing. It's an experience that everybody should experience, and everybody can go to college. And don't worry, you can get a student loan and it'll pay your way through, and it's all good, and you're going to end up with a degree. And that is such a one-sided story. When reality is there's what is called FAFSA, and they talk about that in high schools a lot, about FAFSA, and that's where you get a federal student loan. But what they don't tell you is that FAFSA will not pay all your costs to go to college. And colleges should, every one of them should be ashamed of what they charge people to be educated. I mean, a state college, and probably in any state, but in Texas too, you know, it's nothing for 9 months. That's how long you know, that's 2 semesters, about 9 months or so. $50,000 or $60,000. If you go to some of these private colleges, it's $50,000 or $60,000 a semester. So, you know, you could easily spend, just paying the college, you could spend a few $100,000. And then, you know, what they don't talk about is, you know, you got, as a student, you have to live, you have to feed yourself, you have to have transportation. So there's more money that it costs. So my advice is currently, you know, go to a 2-year community college. Not that it's cheap doing that, but, you know, don't necessarily jump in there and take a full course. I mean, of course, if you can afford it and that's what you want to do, I say more power to you. Go for it. But just don't go in there blind thinking that FAFSA is going to pay for your college education, because they are not. And they try to scam people. Are like, oh, don't worry. What you don't get from your government student loan, we'll hook you up. Yeah, they will hook you up, all right, on a credit card at 29% interest. They're going to hook you up. But they don't tell you that either. So if you're a parent and you got kids going to college, beware. That's my advice for the day. Yeah. So, you know, AI, Bako, I see AI as being, could be a good thing. Do I think it's going to take jobs? Yeah, I do. I've already seen where it's taken jobs. So far, it's entry-level jobs, but, you know, guys, we need entry-level jobs. That's why these kids in high school can't get work experience because companies are using AI instead of human capital. And so, yeah, a lot of kids never have any work experience, which I think is my opinion though. I think you should get some work experience while you're in high school, so that as you get older, you've got something to fall back on just in case, because the best laid plans don't always work out, as we all know as adults. But a lot of kids don't want to work. You're right. At first, we had a 16-year-old on the stream on TikTok yesterday. Maybe he was on it for 2 days. His name was Jake, I believe, and he was looking for a job. And he ended up getting a job, and he thought it was going to be in fast food. He ended up getting a job. I think it's like a video arcade, party place. Anyway, he got a job there, and he came back the next day and let us know that he was able to find a job, and he got some really good advice from some really good people who joined the live here, and show up, work hard, be present, do your best, because that goes a long way. It's not really what you do, it's how you do it, and build character. And I think that working, I've been working since I was 11, and I think it builds character. And my daddy always said, you can hire characters or you can hire somebody with character, and you always want to do the second. So people's character goes a long way. You can teach people other stuff. I had 2 or 3 people that I worked with had absolutely no IT experience, none, zero, never worked in IT in their life, and got them hired into the department, because my thought has always been, when I look for people, I want to know, do you come to work on time, and do you have the ability to learn, and are you dependable? And if you have those 3 things, I can teach you IT, and anybody can teach you IT. So that's where IT is. And I mean, that's from the very basics of IT to, you could learn to code. You can teach yourself how to do that. And so college education, you don't have to go to college to get a degree to work in tech, I don't think. It might take you a lot longer to get there, but you can definitely get there. Okay, guys, it's about 7:30. I've just rambled on here on Friday. I didn't see anybody post a question of the day, because yesterday, I'm telling you, I just drew a blank. I didn't even post a question of the day yesterday because I could not come up with something. I mean, there's all kinds of questions, and a lot of times I read them and go, yeah, that doesn't really do anything for me. I don't go, oh yeah, that'd be a good question to ask. So maybe I should today, it being Friday, just for fun. Me and Mako did. Okay, you did? Or did I miss your question? A lot of kids. Hang on, guys. I'm just looking at some. College should be free. Apprenticeship. Yeah. So about college, I think everybody should have skin in the game. So if you're getting a college education, you should have some skin in the game. And what I mean by that is, you could go to college and work. Maybe you work for the college. There's a lot of things. Maybe you have to do volunteer work. I mean, there's lots of ways that you could work that out in trade. I'm looking for the question. Career service, 22 years. Yeah. How about that, Gil? And That's always good. I love it when people come up with, and being in business for myself for like 12 years and having that entrepreneurial spirit, I would say, is always a good thing because you never know. Sometimes you need to be able to depend on you. And a lot of people without college educations have great business ideas, and a lot of them end up making a lot of money. Brian worked 13 extra stars. Yeah, mowing yards. That was my first business was mowing yards. I had a great aunt that lived in Dallas, and she was a realtor, and she made pretty good money, and she was one of the few, I guess, in the family that had some money, and she had a bunch of clients in the Lover. If you're familiar with Dallas, Texas, there's a area of Dallas, one of the streets called Lover's Lane, and it's an upper end neighborhood. And back in the 60s, it was it was definitely an upper end neighborhood. And I mowed grass in that neighborhood for her and a lot of her clients because those people had money. And that was before there weren't weed eaters. You didn't have a blower. You had a lawnmower, brooms, a leaf rake, or a grass rake. You would rake the lawns for grass, and all of it there was a little more manual work. They did come out with and I actually bought one when I was like 12, I think, a gasoline old style edger, so you could edge the lawns. But yeah, my first business, and I made enough money that I employed both of my sisters, my older one and younger one, and my mother, who worked for schools, but she didn't work in the summertime. So her job was to pack me around with my lawnmower and equipment. And of course, she helped, but everybody got paid. So there you go. And so I tell people all the time, like, especially young men, I'm like, look, if you live anywhere and you're not out on the farm somewhere or a ranch, because if you're out there, there's plenty of work to do. But if you're in town, mow grass, borrow your daddy's lawnmower till you can buy your own. And get out there and go to knocking doors. You'd be surprised how many people and how much money can be made mowing grass. Or, just be willing to rake leaves this time of year because everybody has leaves. So rake leaves, mow grass, mulch people's flower beds. If I wasn't old, I love working outside. So that would be a good thing. And you can mowing guy, about $5 on you. Well, that's funny because mowing grass when I was young taught me about small engines. And, back then we didn't have self-propelled lawnmowers. Your two legs and your arms pushing, that was the self-propelled. And but they all had Briggs and Stratton engines on them. And so I learned about Briggs and Stratton engines. Eventually I had a mini bike that had a Briggs and Stratton engine on it, and I had a go-kart that had a Briggs and Stratton engine on it. And so you learn a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, so we all did. Anyway, so yesterday I just drew a blank. I couldn't come up with a good question of the day. Mako, if y'all did post one, I can't find it in the comments. So if you did, could you post it again for me, if you don't mind? Mowed lawns, yeah. Redundant, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up for Friday at 7:35. If you do come up with a question of the day that you'd like for me to use, definitely post it, email it to me. If I use it, I'll make sure that you get full credit for it. And I appreciate the help, and I appreciate everybody who joins the lives. I wouldn't do this, and it wouldn't be successful without all of you liking, sharing, subscribing, following, and continuing to support the other videos that I make. So from me to you, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. And this is the end of the first 5 days of my retirement. And so it wasn't a bad week at all. I still have a lot of new stuff to do. I talked about insulating the garage door. And so I'm going to take pictures, maybe do a little short video about how and what I chose to use for insulation. And, if it's something, I can insulate my 2-car garage door. I think it cost me the material cost me like $150. And, so I'll show you what I do to install it. I've never installed that particular stuff before. Done similar stuff in my shop out back, but not this stuff. And so I'll kind of show you what I did, how I did it. And, if it's something you want to do, great. If not, great. It'll be something to talk about. Other than that, everybody have a wonderful Friday, a great weekend. College football. If I don't know if you're a college football fan, but just to update you, Mississippi State did lose to Miami last night, right at the end of the game. Mississippi was driving and just ran out of time. It was one of those type games. Good game. Mississippi State loses. Miami moves on. Miami gets to play at home for a national championship this year. Tonight is the second semifinal game, and it is Indiana and let me think, what's the other team? Georgia? Indiana and Georgia. And I can't tell you, but I'm rooting for Indiana. They've never had a football team go this far. Georgia's not bad, just I'd like to see somebody new. And so I think my prediction is for the college football playoff this year in the national championship game will be Indiana, Miami, and that game could go one way or the other. But don't be surprised if you see Miami as the national champion this year in college football. It's either going to be them or Indiana, I think. I think Indiana will take Georgia out tonight. That game starts at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. So if you're a college football fan like I am, you know what I'm going to be doing tonight. Watching a little football, and then I think the final championship games next week. And so, yeah, there you go. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me and all the support. And I'll be back here Monday, 6 a.m. So thanks for joining Morning Coffee Talk Live with Dave. Y'all have a good one. Why do I always do that? Like I could touch my computer screen and stop the live. Can you imagine that? Now I can do that on my phone. So everybody have a great weekend. Gotta go.